is the Government Week in Review, a look back at the major stories of the week ending Friday, April 14th, 2023. I am Sherry-Ann Noel. Coming up, Grenada gives impressive showing at character both at track and field and swimming. And Cultural Foundation appoints Chief Executive Officer. We'll be back after this break.
I generally do believe that is good for the point of view that to stimulate the economy, money in people's hands, generally they would not find it so burdensome to wait till the end of the month. Think about commitments of people who have young children, for example. It would make sure that they can sustain the activity of that, be it daycare, be it buying supplies for the kids. That helps in that regard. What we have to do as a nation is make sure that we manage our affairs, and it goes for everything else. But generally, I think it's a good idea because it's not just Grenada. It happens all over the world, and some places actually, even before this pronouncement, a lot of business places would pay certain workers, not everybody, but certain workers and certain sectors of the private sector definitely would have bi-monthly payments already.
Welcome back. We start this week's report with news of exploits of Grenadian athletes in the track and field and swimming at the character level. Team Grenada secured 7 medals on the track at the 50th Character Games held in Nassau, the Bahamas, at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium from April 8th to 10th, 2023. The 27-member team, which comprised track and field athletes, displayed great sportsmanship in their respective events. We have details in this report from Abigail McIntyre.
On the first day of the Character Games, Grenada copped 2 bronze medals, one in the under-17 boys 100 meters by Ethan Sam and Cameron Thomas in the javelin under-20 men event. The medal count then increased by 3 on day 2 when E.J. George ran a well-strategized 3,000 meter and placed second, following by a keenly contested under-17 4x100 meter relay, where the team of Mikhail Redhead, Aidan McIntosh, Nathan Hilaire, and Ethan Sam proved that they are just as competitive as their rivals. The third silver medal came in the 4x400 meter mixed relay when Shafania Houston, Jaden Phillip, Tygon Peterkin, and Jamara Patterson ran the race of the day in the first-time event and gave the hundreds assembled at the stadium an athletic show to remember. On the final day of the Games, Grenada secured its final 2 medals, a silver in the boys on the 17 200 meter and a bronze in the men's 4x400 meter. Wayne McSween, head coach of the 2023 Carifta team, says he is pleased with the overall performance of the athletes. He said emphasis must now be placed on preparing them for the future competitions.
I looked at the children, particularly on day 2 and 3, running with real heart and really pushing themselves to be the best they can be, and that's all we can expect of them. As we were told before we left home, do your best. We're hoping for medals, but your best is good enough, and that's just what we need. If you're going to host the games, you must start preparing now, and you have to ensure that quality training is done to ensure that skills are transferred and practiced to get performances. So I'm hopeful that the authorities and the powers that be are going to do just that and ensure a solid crop is put together now.
Cameron Thomas, who won the bronze medal in the under-20 men's javelin, and Ethan Sam, who won 3 medals at his first Carifta Games, 2 silver and a bronze, both shared their experience.
I'm a little disappointed with the distance. I had the ability to throw over 65 and I wasn't getting nothing right, but I came out here and did my best, tried, and was able to came third.
When you say you weren't getting anything right, explain that.
Well, I think that I was a lot nervous So I don't know why it haven't happened to me before, but everything happens first time for everyone. So
I ran my best, and I'm very proud of myself with the time that I make and the medal that I got.
4x1 and the 100. Tell us about those.
Well, I'm proud of my team for going out there and doing their best to get us a bronze, and I'm proud of myself as well for getting that bronze medal in the 100.
Grenada will host Carriacou in 2024. How much are you looking forward to that in terms of preparing yourself to give a really good showing?
I'm looking forward to make a comeback and possibly do better in that craft.
Following the impressive run in the 4x100 meter under 17 boys was the showdown created by Grenada's mixed 4x4 relay team of Shafania Houston, Jaden Phillip, Tygon Peterkin and Jamara Patterson. The race was one of the most exciting of the day. Following their second place finish, they stopped by the mixed zone to be interviewed by the media.
Strategy going into the race was pretty much organized by the coaches. We started with a female, we second with a male, another male for third leg and for fourth leg I anchored. That's pretty much the strategy going into the race.
So I had to go. I see everybody's not dying off. That means I gotta go. So that's what I did. I'm here. I'm always here to help out. So if you need a call me. I'm here. I was very happy with our place. We want to give it all. I'm extremely happy. I'm going to get back to Silver.
Mother of Jaden Phillip, Charmaine Ross Phillip, former Olympian, national quarter miler and Carifta medalist, says seeing her son on the tracks and his love for athletics has brought fond memories of her days on the track.
Oh my God, I feel like a kid in a candy shop. Just having him represent the country that I love, represent my homeland, represent Grenada. And I think he's excited too, only because I talk so much about it. But Jaden is, he to me is a special athlete. He runs with heart. He's determined and he's passionate about what he does. And, I am wishing him much success. And I'm hoping he would represent Grenada well. And really, this is his intro to it. I'm hoping it would give him a passion for wanting to do more of it. So I'm really excited to have him follow in my footsteps. So, we were at the stadium yesterday and he said, Mom, you're behaving like a kid in a candy shop. And I had to explain to him how excited I am just to have him represent Grenada in the events that I've represented Grenada in. So
the 7-medal haul in track and field was only part of the celebration for Grenada. The Grenada Athletic Association, led by President Conrad Francis and the Secretary Desiree Stephen, with support by Alva Brown, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, as well as double world champion in the javelin Anderson Peters and Vida Bruno Victor, succeeded in the bid presentation to host the 51st Carifta Games in Grenada, March 30th to April 1st, 2024. Grenada successfully hosted the Games twice before, in 2000 and 2016.
The Congress, as usual, was well attended. We had about 28 countries attending, but only 21 had voting rights. And we presented our bid, which went down well with the participants in the Congress. And Trinidad also presented their bid. At the end of the day, when voting took place, we came out on top, 16 votes to 4 and 1 spoiled vote.
Francis believes the success of the previous games is a contributing factor to the 16-4 vote over Trinidad and Tobago.
The previous games that we held in Grenada were very successful games, and everyone was talking about these games that we had. They always wish to come back to Grenada to a Carriacou Games. So we played on that. And secondly, the presentation of our bid. We were well organized, and we captivated the other Congress members. And I think that gave us the edge.
President of the International Association of Athletics Federations, Sebastian Coe, also weighed in the growth of Carifta and its importance.
The proof of the pudding in whether or not I actually really believe in the Carifta Games is within a year of me becoming president. we made an additional grant available through to NACAC to help deliver these games, because we know that at World Athletics we treat them very seriously. They're a part of the development program. I want to see them grow. I want to see them become even more central in the development of young athletes. And I would like other area associations to look at them as a template, as a model going forward.
The IAAF president also shared his views on overwhelming participation in track events at the Games in comparison with the field events.
Clearly running is the staple diet in the Caribbean, but I'm delighted that over the years that I've now been coming to the Carifta Games, which has been every one since 2015, we lost a couple during the COVID, the COVID years, I've witnessed many more athletes taking part in field events. I've witnessed a lot more athletes not just excelling in sprints, but I watched some really competitive middle distance, even some marginally long distance events. And I've watched, we had Anderson here actually supporting Grenada for the next Carifta Games. He's a classic example. He's a double world champion, but also a multiple Carifta Games winner, and that's a field event.
The Grenada Carifta delegation arrived home on Tuesday evening to a welcome ceremony at the Morris Bishop International Airport, hosted by Minister of State with responsibility for youth, sports and culture, the Honorable Ron Redhead.
Thank you, Abigail. During a welcome ceremony at the Morris Bishop International Airport, Minister of State with responsibility for youth and sports, Honorable Ron Redhead, commended the athletes for the level of representation they gave in the Bahamas.
This was one of the things that government was keen to ensure that we invested in you, so that you can do some of those direct work. And you have demonstrated from the start, going into the Carifta, that you had the capacity, you had the talent, and once you applied yourself, each and every one of you could be winners in Grenada's eyes. Government is very pleased and satisfied of your performance.
Grenadian swimmers also gave a good account of themselves at the 36th Carifta Aquatic Championship in Curacao over the Easter weekend. The team brought home 3 medals for Grenada. Details in this report by Karine Maureen Alexander.
After an impressive performance at the 36th Carifta Aquatic Championship held in Curacao over the Easter weekend, the Grenada Carifta swim team returned to Grenada on Wednesday and Thursday respectively with 3 medals, 1 silver and 2 bronze. The Ministry of Education, Youth, Sports and Culture welcomed the 10-member Carifta swim team home on Thursday, 13th April 2023, to a homecoming ceremony at the Morris Bishop International Airport. Vice President of the Grenada Amateur Swimming Association, GASA, Gail Purcell, said withstanding the limited facilities available to the team for the training and development of their skills, their performance at the Carifta Aquatic Championship was more than commendable. The room went in an uproar as the VP of GASA announced the accomplishments of the medalists, including new national records.
Giselle Francis copped the first bronze medal in the boys 11 to 12 200-meter breaststroke. If I can ask Giselle to just stand, we can acknowledge him. Thank you, Giselle. He was followed by Sarah Dowden, who swam in the first year of the girls' 15 to 17 age group, and she secured a bronze medal in the 400-meter individual medley. Sarah, please stand. Sarah also established a new national record in the time of 5 minutes, 28 seconds. Just to know that she beat her own national record, which she surpassed, which she had previously held. Our medal count was topped by a nail-biting finish from Anika Otway with a silver medal in the 15 to 1700-meter breaststroke. Anika swam in a time of 1 minute 15 seconds, also establishing a new national record, which was previously held by Oriolo Cherubin. And from that swim, Anika also obtained a B qualifying time, which has positioned her and qualified her to take part in the Pan Am Games in Chile later this year. Well done, Anika.
The Grenadian swimmers were able to advance to 29 final events in the championships with their stellar performances, placing in the top 5 positions of 10 events. Tilly Colimo, who swam at character level before, were one of the athletes that performed very well, being only 1 spot shy of receiving a medal. Grenada placed second among OECS countries participating, 10th in the girls division and 11th in the overall competition. The character swim athletes had this to say about their experience in Curacao.
It was a great experience with a big facility, and I do think it was very beneficial for the younger swimmers for their first time in Carifta. Even though we are a young team, we still came out and did our best.
This was my first Carifta, and it was also my first time swimming in a 50-meter pool. It was a good experience, and it was an honor to represent the country.
This was my last Carifta, and oh my God. Though it was not easy, it was very hard. There was a lot of pressure, but you know, I did my best. And yeah, it was an honor to represent the country as always.
It was my first time, again, due to COVID and stuff, but it was a great opportunity for me to go and support our country.
Minister for Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation, Honorable Andy Williams, along with Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Sports, Alva Brown, were present to greet the swim athletes on their homecoming. Honorable Andy Williams congratulated the team on a job well done and says the accomplishment is also a motivation to him. Minister Williams advised them to dream big.
You did your country well. You did your country proud. You know, and I just sat down there listening to the point that you are a young team. And I see that this is a time when we as a country have to believe in our young people. I want to ask the team to stand. And I have one piece of advice for you. It's not just about the Carifta, it's about life. And today may be Carifta, tomorrow may be the Pan Am Games, next week may be the Olympics. But I want to encourage you and tell you to dream big in whatever you do. And we have 3 medalists here today. And I want to congratulate you on a job well done. But also, I want to congratulate the team on a job well done.
I am Karen Marine Alexander reporting.
This is the Government Week in Review. When we return, plans in train to ensure young people get involved in professional foreign service.
At the NIS, we're constantly looking for ways to better serve the evolving needs of our population. We learn from experiences, grow, and improve. Learning from the COVID-19 pandemic, we realized a gap in our benefits that needed addressing. We are happy to announce the commencement of the Unemployment Benefit Program. This benefit provides a recently unemployed individual with 50% of their insurable income. The benefit can be claimed up to 15 days after the loss of employment and continues for a maximum of 13 weeks or 3 months after the first claim. Workers in the private sector, public sector, statutory bodies, work permit holders, and the self-employed are eligible for this benefit. While many are eligible, some conditions must be met to qualify. The person must have been an insured employee who paid at least 52 weeks of contributions at the time of loss of employment. They must also be under the pensionable age. The person must not be at fault for the loss of their employment. This means that someone who voluntarily left their job or was terminated due to theft, fraud, or dishonesty will be disqualified for this benefit. For us to verify loss of employment, the employer must provide the individual with a termination certificate. Additionally, the claimant must conduct bi-weekly check-ins with the NIS and must be actively seeking suitable employment while in the receipt of this benefit. For the full qualifying conditions of the unemployment benefit, we encourage you to visit our website www.nisgrenada.org or call us on 440-3309.
Welcome back. Heads of Grenada's overseas missions and diplomatic appointees have been charged to transform the missions and embassies into centers of excellence as they serve and represent the country regionally and on the international stage. It came from government officials who addressed them at the start of a two-day training and orientation session which was organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. While the ministry has already met with and briefed each appointee, they are all being trained and will continue to receive government support to ensure the standards of foreign service is maintained. Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell encouraged the team to build networks among themselves and with other foreign diplomats to broaden Grenada's scope of assistance and mobilization.
We have experience, we have some youth, we have some newness, and I think put together you certainly would make a good team. I want to encourage you as a group to get to know each other, to build a professional relationship with each other, and to feel the need to reach out and ask for advice, ask for counsel as you go along. It is important for us to, I think, promote friendship amongst all nations. I think it's important for us to re-emphasize that we want the Caribbean to be a zone of peace. We've had our own domestic experience with tribalism and with a society that has too many guns and what it can do in a very short space of time and can leave us with a legacy that in our case we're still grappling with. So I think it's important for us to emphasize, I think, both in our verbal posture and in our substantive posture that there are no challenges that mankind faces that cannot be solved by sitting and talking with each other. And given our size, I think we don't have a choice but to, in fact, advocate for this. So I think both as a state and as part of the wider region, that is one of the key things that I think we need to promote.
Foreign Affairs Minister Honorable Joseph Andal outlined the mandate of the diplomats in taking Grenada to the next level.
Together, we have to work to advance the interests of the government and the state of Grenada. Paramount importance. It is not about personal agendas, but about working in tandem with the transformation goals of this administration. Resource mobilization, pursuing grant aid, seeking out scholarships, project financing, market access for our goods and services, particularly as we are in the digital age.
The ambassadors and consul generals were reminded that the urgent task is to build a better Grenada through the creation of foreign missions that will be envy of other regions.
We live in a time when foreign affairs go beyond its traditional scope. The advent of modern communication means that we are all engaged in vast historical changes which are reshaping the political life of our world. You are engaged in a great adventure. Your most urgent task will be that of building a better Grenada, realizing a better and stronger Caribbean region, and ultimately a better world. My admonition to you this morning is to serve your country with pride and to make our foreign missions centers of excellence.
GIS spoke with a few of the diplomats who gave their commitment to be ambassadors of transformation.
I am happy to adopt all of the established mandates and to make it and to make it my prioritized labor of love to make sure it happens, to make it happen.
I pledge that I will do my very best because I'm going to territory where I'm very familiar with. I know a lot of people there. So I expect to carry out the mandate of the transformational agenda for Grenada, carriacou, and PTMI.
I believe as a politician, you are a diplomat in your own way. And I accept fully, I took copious note of the priority areas, and it is in keeping with what I believe is necessary at this moment.
In related news, young aspiring diplomats will soon get the opportunity to join Grenada's foreign service as the Grenada government moves to create a professional service to ensure continuity even after a change of administration. It is common practice that after a general election and a change in government, diplomats are recalled and adjustments are made in the overseas missions, usually resulting in disruptions and delays in developmental processes. However, Foreign Affairs Minister Honorable Joseph Andal recently announced that investment will be made in training and guiding young persons to hold these key positions in the professional foreign service.
We give our commitment to young aspiring diplomats that there is a way open for them at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Export Development. We have to approach this in such a manner that even when there is a change in administration, the continuity of our diplomacy is not called into question or grounded to a halt. So we are going to ensure that training opportunities exist for young people wishing to get into the service, that there is continuous training and upgrading of those already in the service, because it is only through investment in education at all levels that we'll be able to truly transform our country.
The Ministry of Education, Youth, Sports and Culture announces the appointment of Mr. Livingston Nelson as the Chief Executive Officer of the Grenada Cultural Foundation. Mr. Nelson is a well-known cultural practitioner. He comes to the foundation with decades of experience as a cultural researcher and community leader. As the leader of the Tivoli Drummers, Mr. Nelson has been the organizer of workshops and festivals aimed at creating awareness and pride in the Grenadian identity. He previously served as CEO of the foundation during the period 2008 to 2013. Apart from assuming responsibilities for the day-to-day running of the foundation, Mr. Nelson is expected to develop and recommend strategic plans to the board consistent with the vision and mission of the foundation as outlined in Act No. 23 of 1998, otherwise known as the Grenada Cultural Foundation Act 1998. On April 7th, Grenada, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, officially celebrated 46 years since diplomatic relations were established. Because of the public holiday last Friday, no celebrations were held. Grenada's ambassador to Venezuela, Hassan Hadid, and Venezuela's resident ambassador, Jorge Veloz, took the opportunity to celebrate at the Office of Foreign Affairs Minister Honorable Joseph Andal on Friday morning. The relations between the two countries are held on the basis of mutual respect and cooperation. Hassan Hadid, Grenada's ambassador to Venezuela, expressed gratitude to the government and people of Venezuela for support that brought socio-economic benefits to Grenada.
Without any doubt that the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela has been extremely helpful to Grenada in numerous things, in housing, in oil, and of course in the general hospital, and there are numerous things that scholarships, and the relationship has been over 46 years, and I believe the relationship was intensified started under the late President Hugo Chavez, who saw the Caribbean region as part of Venezuela, really. He identified with the poor people in the region, and he saw the poor people of the Caribbean, he did not differentiate between the poor people in Venezuela and the poor people of the Caribbean, especially the small islands.
Ambassador Hadid gave his commitment to Jorge Veloz, Venezuela's resident ambassador to Grenada, in working collaboratively for the greater benefit of both countries.
Venezuela has become a second home to me. Excellency, two of us also, we share a very close friendship. And I will, for my part, I promise to continue to do on what I'm able to do to strengthen the relationship and the bond between Grenada and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Veloz, Venezuela's resident ambassador to Grenada, speaking through a translator, gave the reassurance that the work which was started decades ago will continue.
Nuestra presencia aquí es para ratificar el compromiso del pueblo y gobierno bolivariano que preside nuestro presidente Nicolás Maduro en continuar estrechando la amistad, la hermandad, la cooperación, el apoyo y la solidaridad entre nuestros pueblos, como lo ha hecho en los momentos más difíciles que ha atravesado el pueblo de Grenada.
Our presence here is to ratify the commitment of the people and Bolivarian government presided by our President Nicolás Maduro to continue strengthening friendship, brotherhood, cooperation, support, solidarity among our peoples, as he has done in the most difficult moment that has gone through the people of Grenada.
We take another break. When we return, we look at efforts to protect Grenada's digital existence.
Boy, yo, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up. I'm coming. Karim, what you doing? Fly my kite. Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy. Why not? The wind good. Because mommy say, kite threads conduct electricity. Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, it can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked. Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture. Yeah, that makes sense. Kite threads conduct electricity. Do not fly kites near overhead power lines. This can lead to electric shocks and power outages. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, do not try to retrieve it. Release it and call GIS. Always fly kites in open areas. Keep your kites far away from roads. And remember, always clean up after yourself.
GIS, energizing our Grenada.
Government ministers, senior government officials, policymakers, technical experts, and other parliamentarians will soon be equipped with the tools to protect Grenada's digital existence. The Caribbean Community Implementation Agency for Crime and Security Impacts has just wrapped up the second round of cyber sensitization sessions to build capacity, development on financial compliance, asset recovery, and cybercrime. This will be held in each member state. CARICOM member countries are being encouraged to engage in formal and informal dialogue and collaboration to advance cybersecurity, boost economic development, and improve sustainability. Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell said the session is timely as his administration pushes its digital transformation agenda. He said the onus is on regional leaders to urgently move into solution mode, build awareness, and educate the citizens on the importance of being cyber secure.
We must remain vigilant, cautious, and above all, be prepared. The impact of cyber threats on our economies, infrastructure, and social fabric cannot be underestimated. And it is therefore critical that we address the challenges of cybercrime together to protect our region's growth and stability. Governments in the region, like in Grenada, should seek to invest in cybersecurity infrastructure, including the establishment of national cybersecurity strategies and the allocation of adequate resources to law enforcement agencies.
Globally, trillions of dollars are being lost annually through cybercrimes. Assistant Director of Strategic Services of CARICOM Impacts, Earl Harris, said if the region could recover a fraction of that money, regional economies will be in a better place.
This is the foundation required to bolster our regional cyber resilience. At CARICOM Impacts, this workshop is seen as a significant activity which enhances our ability to detect, prevent, investigate, and successfully prosecute technology-based criminal activities in our region and contribute to the global fight against cybercrime. One may ask why this heavy focus on cybercrime. But I'd like to share with you that the global impact on cyber attacks and crime on an annual basis is estimated at $10.2 trillion. I didn't say millions, I didn't say billions. $10.2 trillion. If we could save or recover a fraction of that, our regional economies would be in a good place.
Acting Director of Public Prosecutions, Howard Pinnock, said although Grenada is in a good position to move ahead with its digital agenda with amended laws and policies, there is still need for continuous training and capacity building. He commended CARICOM Impacts for the initiative.
The threat to in historical terms, the threat to Grenada has been quite serious because our primary law of evidence and criminal law statutes, they date from the Victorian era. Indeed, they were all passed in the 1890s. So you could appreciate the difficulties we had from the criminal justice system. However, within the last decade, our legislators have amended the Criminal Code, they have amended the Evidence Act, and an Electronic Crimes Act was passed as well, and an Electronic Evidence Act, and also an Interception of Communications Act, just to name a few. Cumulatively, all of which equipped us to wrestle with the emerging threats. However, we have a continuing need to build capacity and capability.
Given the significant increase in the price of fertilizer and feed, the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives collaborated with the University of the West Indies and the Food and Agricultural Organization to organize a workshop showing alternative ways to feed animals and fertilize crops in a more cost-effective way. The training, Cost-Effective Risk Management Options for Agriculture and Livelihoods, was both theoretical and practical. The session showcased techniques for optimal fertilizer application, compost building, and livestock feeding. Ministry of Agriculture Representative Gregory Del Sol says the significance of this training is knowing the alternative approaches to the methods currently being used.
UE provided us with these three facilitators, Dr. Udoxi leading the team. That would give us a lot of cost-effective measures that we could do in terms of compost building, proper fertilizer applications, because a lot of times in this country, farmers tend to waste fertilizer. We put more fertilizer than we need to actually apply to the crops. Number two, he also talked about soil testing. We need to do that a bit more, so we know exactly what the soil needs, not just by guesswork.
Dr. GIS Udoxi, Senior Lecturer of Soil Science at the University of the West Indies, together with Dr. Martin Hughes, an animal production specialist and nutritionist, showcased the characteristics of the resources and how best to manage them efficiently.
So I think we were able to provide some very low-hanging fruits, including, for instance, understanding how a simple thing like where you place your fertilizer and how much of that fertilizer you use is so critical to your ability to use it efficiently. And similarly, on the side of the feeds, I think we were able to show that when you are creative and you think about the alternative feed substrates that are available, you can, particularly for ruminant animals, produce a more reasonable cost substitute for what we already have on the market. When we do little things, they have great impact. And one of the major areas, I think, is the improvement in our productivity. One of the sore points for us in terms of our production is that we are very low in terms of where the yield potentials of most of our crops are. And by changing very slight practices, there's a great opportunity for us to increase that.
These strategic measures are aimed at improving the efficiency of both farmers and extension assistants. Brenda Phillip, extension assistant, and Kenneth Charles, farmer, reported that the training that they received was a source of empowerment to them.
Information relating to not just soil fertility, but building your soil and helping the farmer to understand what he needs to do to improve his soil condition for better production, and also to enhance the fertility in terms of delivering all the minerals and the required nutrition that the plant would need to survive and to produce in a healthy manner. It was very productive and I really enjoyed being here for two reasons, because we spent one day in the classroom, settings, doing the theoretical part of it, and then the second day we were able to have a hands-on approach in the field, which brought everything together.
We got rid of some, traditional myth as it relates to fertilizing, which was very enlightening. Also, We learned very much about the deep placing the fertilizer into the soil instead of on the surface as we normally do. And we were shown the advantages of doing that. For example, fertilizer left on the surface in hot sun, most of the nitrogen would vaporize. So before the plant could get it, you would have lost most of it. So when you cover it into the soil, it is there for a longer while and more accessible to the plants. As it relates to livestock, we look at the feed using the shredder and using the proper proportion of protein to carbs, basically. And this was also enlightening, and it shows how much easier it would be to take care of our livestock if we have one of those shredders.
And finally, public engagements continue throughout the island as the Wage Advisory Committee seeks to address the issue of minimum wage in Grenada. The second of the series of consultations took place at the current government school on Wednesday. The Ministry of Legal Affairs partnered with the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council. Minister for Labour, Senator the Honourable Claudette Joseph, spoke of the collaboration.
Reviewing the minimum wage in Grenada goes to the heart of enhancing the quality of life of our people. You agree with me? It goes to the heart of it. Connected with a living wage is directly the issue of food security. You heard the presenter give the definition of food security, and included in that is the ability of the person to economically provide the necessary nutritious food for a healthy lifestyle. And connected with minimum wage is basically the concept of what does a basket of goods cost.
In the conversation about minimum wage, here are some contributions that were made by attendees.
I do believe that the minimum wage should be increased. Brother Mason, you did say the minimum wage was last increased in 2011 or amended in 2011. My suggestion is, for all the years it wasn't increased, just give us we back pay, give us whatever it was supposed to be, give us that and let's start there. I mean, it may seem laughable, but it's very hard when you know your neighbor has probably 8 or 12 children, and sometimes every Monday morning or every fortnight, that person has to be coming and borrow from you, all because they cannot make ends meet for their children. And in this society, I know I hear the question, who tell them make all that children? And that's another discussion. But the truth be told is, sometimes as a woman, it's very hard for you to see other women go through that. And so I believe the minimum wage should be increased to about between $10 to $12 at least as starters. When we compare the statistics for other islands, you realize that their minimum wage is similar to our current minimum wage. However, I do believe with an increase in minimum wage, it would give Grenadian citizens a better opportunity to have a better standard of living.
The whole question is, I mean, some of us in here are employers. And so maybe that's why we're so cagey about raising the minimum wage. Because indirectly, like, some of us may have to pay a cleaner in our house, some of us may have to pay a gardener, some of us may have to pay for something, right? And so we might be a little bit cagey because we have to pay and we don't want to pay too much. But the question is, your minimum wage or the minimum wage of anybody should at least afford them a decent living. So we need to establish what is a decent living and attach the minimum wage to the decent living. That's not so hard to do.
If you're talking minimum wage and for somebody to have affordability to live, you have to base it on their experience in whatever sector that they're in, their qualifications, as well as other factors. Electricity is going up constantly. You cannot change that. Cost of living is on the rise every moment. So even though in the next 3 years you decide to revise this again, the cost of living might have skyrocketed and people still can't afford. So my take is that, as previous persons would have said and as everybody would have said, a survey should be done to see the various sectors and what can be done as a minimum wage.
And with that story, come to the end of the Government Week in Review for Friday, April 14th. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I am Sherry Ann Noel, thanking you for viewing.